All right, so in this video we're going to talk about painting our plates, and one of the things is the supplies you are going to get and need, okay? So I have, needing to zoom out here we go. I have almost all of these ready, and there is a pill bottle for each of you that has red, yellow, and blue. Please understand, and I will likely say this over and over and over, you are not to put your paintbrush in this. Okay? We want to keep this red as clean as possible. So instead of dipping our paintbrush, we're actually just going to use it to pour. This does not mean that this is all the red you get. It just allows me to be able to get it to you as quickly as possible and not have to say, okay, now next table come up. So these are separated. Here's the blue. That is a weird blue. I think there must have been water in it. We'll see how it works. Anyway, I'm not completely done with the blues. I'm going to try to get those done as quickly as possible. This is our mixing tray, and so this is what we're going to do all our mixing on. When you're mixing, we need to save time. We need to save as much, make as much time as to get these painted as possible. So when you're mixing, you don't want to mix an entire area of your tray. You want to keep your piles like in the corners, okay? So looking at the plates, I'm actually going to do, let's see here. I'm going to do one that's a little easier. I'm going to do the yellow, yellow, green, and green here. So this tells me I have to do yellow here and green here, and on this side I need to do yellowish green. Well, the yellowish green is basically like your neon green. I would say this is close to being yellow-green, although we could go maybe just a little yellower. Ooh, in the camera it looks very yellow. All right. A pure green is going to have just a little more blue in it. And I actually put a cheat sheet on the board for you. I've written it out, and I'll try and keep that over the next couple of days. So if you're saying, how do I make green? Well, shame on you. You should know that. You learned that probably in second grade. But hey, if you're having one of those days, you can look at the board and say green is made by mixing yellow and blue. Okay? However, what some of you will say is, how do I make yellowish green? Well, on the cheat sheet board there, I put yellowish green is more yellow and less blue. Okay? The other thing you'll notice, if you haven't figured out yet, is you only get the primary colors, and you have to mix everything else. So that's the goal, is to mix our colors. And I will also tell you guys, this is going to take us 2 to 3 days just to paint all these plates. We cannot paint this side and then flip it over and paint this side, because we need somehow, some way for this to dry. So it's like one side a day. And I'm going to start with this because I can start with yellow. It's a pure color. I don't have to mix it at all. So your lids are going to, either they're childproof or they're not. This one actually, I didn't know they make these, but this one actually says caution, not childproof. So this one should actually just pop right off. I will also tell you guys that you need to be really extremely careful that you put the lids on securely before you put these in your tub, because you don't want to spill it. So I'm going to pour a little bit of yellow here. And the reason we're using liquid paint is because we want these colors to be nice and solid and thick. And sometimes that's harder to do with a powder or a tempera cake. Guys, I do need your eyes up here. These are, however, they are a tempera. So if you get it on your skin, it will come off. If you get it on your clothes, I wouldn't recommend that. But if you do get it on your clothes, it should come off. Okay? So I'm just mixing this a little bit. It was separated for some reason. That was kind of weird. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pour just a little bit of blue over here. And I will tell you, blue is such a dark color, I just don't think we're going to need much of it. But I have my paint bottle handy. If I need to get more, I certainly can do so. You are not going to have the availability of the sinks. So when you mix a color and say, Mrs. Truey, I'm done, I need a clean brush, I'm going to be your servant. Okay? Don't take advantage of it, all right? Tips are welcome. But anyway, if you say, hey, Ms. Truey, I'm done, can I get a clean brush? I will be walking around gathering them and giving you a new clean one. Anyway, so here we go. I got this is yellow, straight yellow. So all I have to do is pick it up in my paintbrush. And I do appreciate if you guys would try to keep the paint out of the metal part here. And so I'm just going to paint this. It's really not rocket science. However, I will tell you, notice I'm going off the page, or the plate. If I go this way, I will actually squish paint underneath the plate, and I don't want to do that. So every time I do this, I'm painting off the plate. And yes, you may get some paint on your table. It's not a big deal. We can spray and wipe the tables. But I'm going to finish up my yellow. You're going to get a little on your hands. I'll give you some paper towel, wipe your hands, and at the end of class, we can clean hands as needed. So I'm going to just kind of finish this up. All right. So my yellow is done. I'm now going to mix green. Well, green, as I said before, is yellow and blue. But, again, my warning to you is that blue is so dark, we don't want to mix this entire pile. So I'm going to take just a smidge of blue over here and mix it. And, yes, my pile of yellow is already kind of mixed, so I'm just going to leave that. See, now that is a nice yellow-green, but it's not green, which I need. So I'm going to mix more. And I'm going to keep mixing until I get a nice, even, what do we say, pea green. Pea green. Maybe even darker than pea green. But, all right. If you get too much blue, then it's going to be what we call blue-green, and that's not good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and mix. There we go. We're starting to get something that's a little closer. Which, by the way, I will tell you, if I add too much blue to it and I get blue-green, guess what? I have a plate that needs blue-green. All right, so you may just say, you know what, I'm going to use this and instead of trying to wash everything out. So, all right, that's getting to be about what we need. And you notice I'm just kind of gently mixing with my brush. Again, I'm staying away from the metal, kind of going back and forth, and we should be good with that. So I'm going to paint this. If I run out of paint, I may have to mix some more. I'm going to be real careful along this line just to make it as much of a perfect line as I can get, but I'm also not going to spend 10 minutes making it perfect, because I will tell you it's going to be folded later. So I'm already running out of my green. That tells me I got to mix a little more blue. So you guys are getting the point, though? All right, well, again, when I get done with this green, or if it was you, you would say, Mrs. Trui, I am done. Or you could look and say, what could I do? Without having to get a new paintbrush, what could I do? I already alluded to it. I already suggested it a moment ago. Charlie? Yes, thank you. I obviously can't paint the other side of this plate, but yes, just like he said, I could do blue-green. So I'm going to dig out my plate that says blue-green, and I'm going to paint that. Now, again, notice I'm going off the sides there, okay? Now, that is about right, and I'm going to show you where to put these in just a moment, but for the moment, I have to just set it aside. I have to dig out my blue-green plate and at least get that one done, and I just found it. So this half needs to be blue-green. Well, I'm going to try a little trick here since this is pretty much going to have to be clean. I'm going to just take my whole brush, mix it in there with just a little bit of yellow. Notice the difference between the two blues. Can you see the difference? Okay, it's a little harder to see on the screen. Technically, I do think I could use just a little bit more blue, but that's my blue-green, so then it's close, maybe a little more blue. Blue-green to me is like aqua. So then I would paint it here, and then that's probably where I'm going to say, hey, I need a new brush, may I get one? Does that make sense? Okay, so the other thing we are going to do is I'm going to be coming around with a water bottle, and if you say, hey, Mr. Ree, I need my plate cleaned, my tray, not plate, then I will give you a little spritz of water, and you can grab some paper towel, because probably the easiest thing to do, I don't have any handy right now, is just to wipe this like this. It's actually easier than getting this whole tray clean or wet, because then I have to dry it also. So at the end of the class, we're going to be doing more just wiping it with dry paper towel and throwing the paper towel away. We don't throw this at each other. We don't paint on ourselves. We don't do any of that stuff that should be common sense as a sixth grader. You just make sure you get done what you need to have done. Okay? I have a garbage that's up by my desk. I have one that's over on the east side of the room over there. I don't, unfortunately, have one here yet, but I do have one on the back of the room. Now, if you guys have not noticed, let me see if I can pop this up. Up on the front board, I have an example. All right. This is actually supposed to be one plate front and back, one plate front and back, one plate front and back, one plate front and back. If there's anybody in here who struggles with colors, this would be a good time to let me know. You may have written it on the sheet and I just didn't see it yet, but this would also be a time when you say, hey, Mr. Wee, I'm struggling with color blindness on reds or something. Otherwise, those are up there as a reference. If you're saying, hey, is this yellowish green enough? Check it out up there. That's an example that's there for your use. All right? Now, I wonder if that quit taping. It probably did because I taped so long. Oh, no, there it is. Let's talk